The first time I died, my last thought was not about the truck, or the rain, or the way the world tilted sideways in a burst of white headlights. It was about a group chat. I know how ridiculous that sounds. People are meant to see their mother's face, or their childhood bedroom, or some glowing tunnel when life breaks apart. I saw a blue notification bubble with my name dragged through it like a dead animal. I saw 217 screenshots printed on glossy paper and pinned across the assembly hall, all with my profile picture circled in red. I heard the principal saying my actions had poisoned the culture of year 12, heard my classmates whispering that I'd finally been caught, heard my best friend Lily sobbing because she had tried to defend me and got swallowed with me. Then came the rain, my cracked phone sliding under a bus shelter bench, and a message from the girl who destroyed me. You should have just stayed quiet, Mara. When I opened my eyes again, I was staring at the same cracked ceiling fan above my bed, my uniform hanging on the wardrobe door, my phone buzzing beside my pillow with the first message from the class group chat that would ruin my life in exactly 21 days. I did not scream. I did not cry. I simply reached over, unlocked the phone with hands that remembered dying, and watched the group name appear like a curse. 12A Survival Squad. Under it, Alicia Vale had written Morning Losers, don't forget chemistry quiz unless you enjoy public humiliation. In my first life, that message had made everyone laugh. In my second, it felt like a match being struck in a room full of petrol. Alicia Vale was the kind of girl teachers described as spirited because they were too tired to say cruel. She had honey blonde hair that looked soft enough to forgive her, a laugh that made people check if they were the joke, and parents who donated so many new computers to Westbridge College that the deputy principal smiled even when she walked past uniform inspection wearing earrings the size of coins. To the school, she was debating champion, charity ambassador, assembly host, scholarship finalist, and the glowing face of our graduating class. To us, inside that group chat, she was queen, judge, executioner, and weather system. If Alicia decided you were funny, you became funny. If she decided you were invisible, people looked through you by lunch. If she decided you were guilty, nobody waited for evidence. In my first life, I had been useful to her because I was quiet, organized, and too desperate to keep the peace. I made study schedules, uploaded notes, reminded everyone about deadlines, and deleted the worst of her insults before teachers could see them, because I thought cleaning the mess was the same as preventing damage. I believed if I moderated the group chat gently enough, everyone would survive final year. That was my first mistake. My second was believing screenshots showed truth. Screenshots showed angles. Screenshots showed cropping. Screenshots showed whatever Alicia wanted the school to see after she baited people, deleted her own messages, and left mine standing there like weapons in my hands. In my first life, the collapse began with a boy named Theo accidentally uploading a practice essay that looked too similar to one from a paid tutoring site. Alicia pounced. She mocked him until he panicked, then privately messaged half the class telling them I had asked her to keep pressure on him because I was worried he would drag our group marks down. When Theo snapped and called her a parasite, she deleted her own taunts and screenshotted my message from 20 minutes earlier. Everyone calm down. Don't attack each other. Cropped properly, it looked like I was scolding Theo while protecting her. That was how she worked. Never one big lie when 20 small half-truths could build a staircase. After Theo came Nadia, whose parents were divorcing and who missed 3 assessment deadlines. Alicia joked that Nadia collected extensions like loyalty points, then screenshotted my spreadsheet reminder about missing work and sent it to the year advisor as proof I was tracking people's failures. After Nadia came Lily, who defended me too loudly, and Alicia made it look like Lily and I had been running a secret ranking list of classmates. The final blow was the night before our English trial, when Alicia leaked a fake exam question into the chat under an anonymous account she later pinned on me. By morning, half the grade had seen screenshots showing my replies, my reminders, my attempts to shut it down, all rearranged into a story where I was the mastermind of academic bullying, cheating, harassment, and manipulation. I was suspended 2 days before graduation rehearsal. Lily lost her prefect badge. Theo changed schools. Nadia stopped coming. Alicia cried at assembly about online safety and was praised for having the courage to expose a toxic culture. A week later, I died with my phone full of messages from people who used to borrow my notes. So when I woke up again on the first day of those 21 days, I did not try to prove I was innocent. Innocence had been useless the first time. People did not defend the innocent. They defended the version of events that cost them least. I also did not storm into school and accuse Alicia of everything because I knew exactly how that would look. Quiet girl suddenly claims beloved student leader is a villain because of things that technically have not happened yet.
No.
Rebirth did not give me magic. It gave me memory, and memory is only powerful when you stop using it as a wound and start using it as a map. I got dressed. I tied my hair back neatly. I ate breakfast while my mother asked why I looked so pale, and I told her I had a headache. I backed up every file on my phone. I turned off automatic media deletion. I changed my cloud password. I made a folder called Weather because in my first life Alicia had once said I was too boring to hide anything interesting, and I wanted the universe to enjoy the joke. Then I opened the group chat settings. There were 32 members, 3 admins, Alicia, me, and Ben from Student Council, who never read anything unless it had his name in it. I hovered over Delete Group for so long my thumb went numb. Deleting the chat would not erase it from everyone's devices, not really, but it would break the central stage. It would stop the daily pile-on, scatter the audience, force Alicia to rebuild her theater in daylight. In my first life, I had protected the chat because everyone depended on it. In this life, I killed it before it could learn to breathe. The reaction came faster than I expected. By the time I reached the school gates, my phone was vibrating like a trapped insect. Private messages, missed calls, Instagram pings. A new group invite titled 12 A Survival Squad 2.0 appeared before homeroom, created by Alicia, obviously, because she had added a crown emoji beside her own name. She found me at my locker with 3 girls behind her like punctuation marks. Her smile was bright enough to sterilize a room. Mara, she said, soft and sweet, the voice she used when teachers were nearby. Did your finger slip, or did you just delete the entire class chat because you had a mood? In my first life, I would have apologized before I understood the accusation. In this one, I closed my locker slowly and looked at her reflection in the metal door before turning around. I deleted a group where people were being insulted before 8 in the morning. I said, if everyone needs announcements, we can use the school platform. The hallway changed temperature. Alicia blinked once. She had expected panic, guilt, maybe a trembling explanation. She had not expected me to say something reasonable in front of witnesses. Her smile stayed, but the corners sharpened. That's dramatic, she said. Nobody was being insulted. Then nobody lost anything important, I replied. Someone behind her made a tiny sound, not quite a laugh, more like air escaping a tire. Alicia heard it. I saw the exact second she decided I would pay. By recess, the replacement chat had 73 messages, and I was not in it. That was Alicia's first mistake. Exclusion feels like punishment when you still want inside. I did not. I spent recess in the library, where the air smelled like dust and laminated posters, and asked Mrs. Henley, the librarian, if there was an official channel for assessment reminders because the class chat had become messy. She adjusted her glasses and looked at me over the rims. Mrs. Henley had the kind of silence that made guilty people over-explain. Messy how? She asked. I shrugged, careful not to sound like I was reporting yet. Just not reliable. People delete things. It causes arguments. I thought maybe we should have something transparent. She gave me the name of the school's digital learning coordinator and told me to email him. I did, copying my year advisor, Mr. Sato, and used the most boring language possible. To reduce confusion and support student well-being, could Year 12 assessment reminders be posted through an official moderated channel? Boring language is armor. Emotional truth gets dismissed as drama. Administrative concern gets forwarded. By lunch, Mr. Sato replied thanking me for being proactive. By last period, Alicia had heard. She walked past my desk in economics and dropped a folded note beside my pencil case. On it, in her perfect looping handwriting, she had written, "Careful." People who act clean usually have the dirtiest phones. I folded it back along the same crease, placed it in my weather folder after school, and felt something inside me settle. In my first life, I had feared her because she moved like lightning. In this one, I realized lightning still needed a storm cloud. The next 3 days were not victory. They were mud. Alicia could not use the original chat, so she used absence. People stopped sitting beside me unless Lily was there. Conversations dipped when I approached. Ben told me, with the exhausted authority of a boy who thought neutrality was a personality, that I had made things awkward for everyone. Theo avoided my eyes. Nadia whispered thank you by the water fountain and then immediately looked terrified that someone had seen her. Lily wanted war. Lily always wanted war when someone hurt me, which was one of the reasons I loved her and one of the reasons Alicia had destroyed her in the first life. Let me join the new chat from Emma's phone, she said behind the sports shed, her curls escaping her bun like angry springs. I'll screenshot everything. I'll bait her. I'll make her say something disgusting. I grabbed her wrist before she could pace herself into a plan. No baiting, I said. No fake accounts.
No dramatic traps.
We don't become her to beat her. Lily stared at me. Since when are you terrifyingly calm? Since I died, I almost said. Instead I said, since I learned that angry girls get called unstable and organized girls get called witnesses.
She hated that I was right.
I hated that I was right. But we agreed on one thing. We would collect what came naturally, and we would not touch what did not belong to us. That mattered, because revenge built from lies is just a different costume for the same monster. I wanted Alicia exposed, not because I was crueler than her, but because the truth deserved a room big enough to stand up in. The first pattern disruption happened on Friday during chemistry. Alicia had always loved public pressure disguised as helpfulness. In my first life, this was the day she started turning Theo into the class clown sacrifice, asking him questions she knew he could not answer, making everyone laugh, then acting wounded when he got upset. I watched her lean across the bench, chin on hand, eyes wide. Theo, since you're basically our organic chemistry king, what's the difference between reflux and distillation? A few students smirked.
Tausha I that dende.
The old script began to rise. This time, before he could stumble, I knocked my metal drink bottle off the bench. It hit the floor with a crack loud enough to make the whole lab jump. Water rolled under 3 stools. Mrs. Patel snapped. Mara and the class turned. I apologized, grabbed paper towels, and bent down long enough for the moment to die. When I stood, I looked at Theo and said, reflux keeps the reaction mixture heated without losing volatile components. Distillation separates liquids based on boiling points. That's what you said yesterday, right? Theo looked at me like I had thrown him a rope across a canyon. Yeah, he said quickly. Exactly. Alicia's eyes narrowed. It was a tiny save. Almost nothing. But tiny saves changed the smell of a room. The next time Alicia tried to corner him, 2 other people answered first. By afternoon, Theo sent me a message. I don't know what's happening, but thanks. I stared at it for a long time before replying, no worries. Keep screenshots of weird stuff. Don't engage. He sent back a thumbs up, then, after a minute, one more message. She made a new group without you. It's bad. I already knew. But knowing and having someone else see it are different kinds of oxygen. The second disruption came from Nadia, and I did not plan it. On Monday morning, I found her crying in the accessible bathroom, one hand over her mouth, trying to be silent in the way people cry when they have learned sound makes things worse. In my first life, I had been too busy managing Alicia's chaos to ask Nadia what was actually wrong. This time, I sat on the floor outside her cubicle and said, you don't have to explain. I can email Mr. Sato that you're unwell, or I can sit here until you're ready. For 3 minutes, only the extractor fan answered. Then she unlocked the door. Her mascara had gathered under her eyes in gray half-moons. She posted my extension form, Nadia whispered, in the new chat. She said I'm faking family issues because I'm lazy. My stomach went cold. Who sent it to her? Nadia shook her head. I don't know. It was a photo. My student number was visible. That was no longer gossip. That was private information. I told Nadia to screenshot everything without replying. Then I walked with her to the counselor's office, not because I was noble, but because last time I had watched her disappear by degrees and done nothing useful until she was gone. The counselor, Miss Farrow, had tired eyes and a voice like warm tea. She listened. She asked Nadia if she felt safe. She asked if the image was still circulating. Then she asked me why I was there. For 1 second, old fear crawled up my throat. In my first life, being near the problem had made me look responsible for it. But this was not that life. Because the old group chat had the same pattern, I said carefully. That's why I deleted it. Ms. Farrow wrote something down. Not dramatically. Not like a movie. Just one line on a yellow legal pad. Sometimes one line is the beginning of an avalanche. Alicia realized adults were circling by Wednesday, and that was when she changed tactics. She stopped insulting people directly. She became wounded. She posted, through others, that I was isolating her, that I had turned teachers against the class, that I was collecting private messages because I wanted scholarship competition removed. She told Ben she felt unsafe around me. She told Emma that I had always been jealous of her assembly role. She told the debating team I had deleted the group chat to hide something I had said about them months earlier, which was clever because fear of hidden evidence makes people invent their own. By Thursday, I was the ghost story again, but this time the details kept shifting. That was useful. Lies are strongest when repeated exactly. Alicia was improvising. I began writing down versions, dates, who told me, and who witnessed it. Not to obsess. To map. At home, Mum noticed the dark circles under my eyes and asked if school was too much. I wanted to tell her everything. I wanted to say, Mum, I died once because everyone believed the worst version of me, and now I am trying to outrun a rumor with a spreadsheet. Instead, I leaned against the kitchen counter while she chopped onions and said, Have you ever had someone lie about you before the truth was ready? She stopped chopping. My mother was a nurse. She had the gift of hearing the question under the question. Yes, she said. And I learned not to chase every mouth. I kept records, kept calm, and chose the room where the truth would matter. That sentence stayed with me. Choose the room. In my first life, Alicia had chosen the assembly hall. In this life, I would choose it first. The opportunity arrived wrapped in something ugly. Friday afternoon, Mr. Sato asked me to stay back after homeroom. My pulse kicked so hard, I could feel it in my teeth. His desk was too neat, the blinds half closed, a printed sheet placed face down in front of him. Beside him sat Deputy Principal Clark, whose smile always looked laminated. In my first life, this exact seating arrangement had ended with suspension. My knees nearly forgot they belonged to me. Mr. Sato gestured to the chair. Mara, some concerns have been raised about your involvement in student communications. The room blurred at the edges. For one terrifying second, I was back under fluorescent assembly lights, watching teachers avoid my eyes. Then I breathed. Different life. Different evidence. Different me. What concerns? I asked. Clark turned over the page. It was a screenshot. My message. Keep screenshots of weird stuff. Don't engage. Cropped, of course, without Theo's message above it, without context, without the fact that I had said it after he warned me the new chat was bad. Clark tapped the paper. This could be interpreted as you encouraging surveillance of classmates. I looked at the screenshot and then at her. Yes, I said. Both adults paused. Alicia would have expected denial. I did not give it. It could be interpreted that way if cropped. The full conversation shows Theo telling me harmful messages were being posted in the replacement chat. I told him not to engage and to preserve evidence if he received anything concerning. I can show you the full thread. Silence. Mr. Sato's expression shifted. Not belief yet. Attention. I handed over my phone. My hands shook, but I did not hide them. Courage is not a steady hand. Courage is handing over the shaking hand anyway. They read. Then they read more. Then Mr. Sato asked if I had other relevant material. I opened whether. There were screenshots, notes, the folded threat from Alicia, my email about official channels, Nadia's timeline, Theo's message, and a document titled Patterns, which sounded insane until you opened it and saw dates, actions, witnesses, and whether staff had been informed. Deputy Clark's laminated smile had gone matte. "You've been documenting this for a while," she said. "Since I deleted the group chat," I answered. "Because I was worried it would escalate." That was true. It was not all the truth, but it was true enough to stand on. Mr. Sato leaned back and rubbed his forehead. "Mara, did you delete the original group to hide your own messages?" There it was. The question Alicia had planted like a landmine. In my first life, I had stepped on it with explanations. This time I said, "No. But I can't prove what every person still has on their phone. I deleted it because I was an admin and I believed leaving it active would allow more harm. I should have reported it at the same time. That was my mistake." Clark looked surprised. Adults trust accountability more than innocence. Alicia never understood that because she only performed regret when cornered. I did regret one thing. Not acting earlier in my first life. Maybe that was why my voice did not crack when I admitted the smaller failure. Mr. Sato asked me to email the materials formally and not discuss the matter with other students. I agreed. As I left, I saw Alicia at the far end of the corridor, pretending to drink from the bubbler. She looked at my face, searching for wreckage. I gave her nothing. That frightened her more than tears. The weekend before the assembly was when Alicia made her final mistake, though I did not know it yet. She sent screenshots to the school executive anonymously, then to the parent committee, then to 3 students whose parents loved complaining in official language. The screenshots showed me telling Theo to keep evidence, me writing in the old chat that Nadia had missing tasks, me telling Lily not to bait Alicia, me saying the group chat should be moved to an official platform, and, most damning at first glance, me writing, "We don't become her to beat her." Alicia believed that sentence made me look like I was plotting revenge. She had circled "beat her" in red. She did not include Lily's line about baiting. She did not include the messages where Alicia mocked Theo, exposed Nadia's extension form, or threatened me. But she forgot something because arrogance is a blindfold people tie on themselves. Screenshots carry metadata when forwarded badly. File names. Timestamps. Sometimes, if taken through certain apps and emailed without stripping details, device information. I did not know that. Alicia did not know that. Mr. Laird, the digital learning coordinator, definitely knew that. On Monday morning, while Alicia walked into school with red-rimmed eyes and a brave little smile, telling everyone she hoped the truth would come out, Mr. Laird was matching anonymous submissions to a student device logged into the school Wi-Fi during lunch. By period 3, Deputy Clark called on Alicia. By period 4, Alicia's mother arrived wearing sunglasses indoors. By lunch, the replacement chat went silent so abruptly that half the grade checked if the internet had dropped. Lily found me behind the library where I was trying to eat a sandwich and failing because my stomach had turned into a fist. "Something happened," she said. Alicia's not in English. Ben says Clark took his phone. Emma's crying. Theo looks like he saw a ghost, but in a good way. I put the sandwich down. The sky above the courtyard was painfully blue, the kind of blue that feels rude during a crisis. "Don't celebrate yet," I said. Lily sank beside me on the bench. "I'm not. I'm just saying the villain music changed." I laughed despite myself, and it came out rusty. Then my phone buzzed. "Mr. Sato, please come to the conference room during lunch. Bring Lily Chin if she is with you." Lily saw my face. "What? Conference room?" I said. "Both of us." She stood so fast her knee hit the bench. In my first life, that walk had felt like approaching execution. This time, it felt like entering a courtroom where the verdict had not been written yet. Inside were Mr. Sato, Clark, Miss Farrow, Mr. Laird, Theo, Nadia, Ben, Emma, and at the far end, Alicia with her mother. Alicia's eyes were wet, but not soft. They were wet like glass under rain. On the table lay printed screenshots in separate piles. Some were hers. Some were ours. Some were from students I had not known were watching. That was the thing about queens. They forget the servants have eyes. Mr. Sato asked us to sit. Deputy Clark folded her hands. "We are not here to conduct a public trial," she said, which is what adults say 5 minutes before conducting a private one. "We are here to establish sequence, context, and responsibility." For the next hour, Alicia's kingdom was dismantled without anyone raising their voice. That made it worse for her. She could have survived shouting. Shouting lets you play victim. But calm evidence gives you nowhere to fall dramatically. Theo showed the full chemistry messages, including Alicia's taunts before his angry reply. Nadia showed the post of her extension form, and Ms. Farrow confirmed it had been a confidential document. Emma, trembling so hard her bracelets clicked together, admitted Alicia had asked her to keep Mara out of the loop and send any messages that made me look suspicious. Ben admitted Alicia had told him I wanted to destroy her scholarship chances. Lily showed our full conversation, including her own angry suggestion and my refusal to bait or fake anything. Mr. Laird explained that the anonymous email containing cropped screenshots came from a newly created account but had been accessed on the school network from Alicia's device. Alicia's mother interrupted at that point, saying many students use similar devices, and Mr. Laird, with the exhausted patience of a man who had spent 20 years explaining passwords to people who clicked pop-ups, said the login matched Alicia's student credentials. Alicia began crying properly then, not because she was sorry, because reality had stopped obeying her. She looked at me across the table, and for the first time in either life, she did not look powerful. She looked young, cornered, and furious that youth did not excuse her. "Mara deleted the original chat," she said. "None of this would have happened if she hadn't tried to control everyone." Every adult looked at me. The old me would have defended. The dead me would have begged. The reborn me said, deleting it was abrupt. I understand it caused confusion. But the evidence shows the harm continued in the replacement chat because the problem was never the app. It was the behavior. Ms. Farrow's pen paused. Deputy Clark wrote that down. You might think that was the climax, but real life has a cruel sense of pacing. The school did not immediately announce Alicia's downfall. They did what institutions do: reviewed, consulted, protected wording, worried about parents, scheduled meetings, and used phrases like restorative process and leadership suitability. For 4 days, the grade lived inside a pressure cooker. Alicia did not return to classes. Her friends acted like mourners at a funeral where the deceased might still sue. Ben sent me a message apologizing if things got miscommunicated, which was such a weak apology Lily wanted to frame it under the title Cowardice in 12 words. Theo started sitting with us. Nadia smiled more, though she still flinched when phones buzzed. Teachers became strangely polite to me, the way people do when they suspect you were carrying something heavy and they did not notice. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I felt tired in my bones. Revenge in stories tastes sweet because someone edits out the nausea. In reality, even righteous exposure leaves fingerprints. I kept thinking of First Life Mara, the girl who had died believing nobody would ever know. I wanted to reach backward through time and tell her they were always going to know. Not soon enough to save you, but enough to change me. On Thursday afternoon, Mr. Sato asked me to help draft a student digital conduct proposal. Your email started an important conversation, he said. I almost laughed. My email. Not my death. Not my terror. Not the folder named weather. An email written in boring language. Sure, I said. But include student reporting protections. People don't speak up if they think screenshots will be used against them. He nodded. Exactly. And just like that, something I had done out of fear became policy. Assembly was on Friday, the same day as in my first life. I woke before my alarm, drenched in sweat, because my body remembered the old timeline better than my mind wanted to. In the mirror, I looked almost the same as the girl who had walked into disgrace. Brown eyes, dark hair, blazer slightly too big at the shoulders, a face people called calm because they never looked long enough to see the storm. Mum knocked and came in holding 2 hair clips. She did not know everything, but she knew enough. Presentation day? She asked. Something like that. She clipped back the hair near my temple with the gentleness of someone bandaging a wound. Whatever happens, stand with both feet on the floor. At school, the assembly hall smelled of floor polish and anxious deodorant. Rows of students murmured under the high windows. The stage curtains were navy. The lectern microphone gave a small, sharp whine as Mr. Harrow, the principal, adjusted it. In my first life, I had stood near the back while Alicia walked onto that stage and cried about courage. This time, Alicia was absent. Her reserved seat in the front row stayed empty, a gap so loud everyone kept looking at it. Lily sat beside me, knee pressed against mine. Theo was 2 rows behind. Nadia sat with Miss Farrow near the aisle. Mr. Harrow began with acknowledgments, notices, sport results. My pulse counted every word like a countdown. Then Deputy Clark stepped forward holding a folder. "Before we continue with awards," she said, "we need to address a matter concerning digital conduct, student safety, and leadership." The hall went so quiet I heard someone's pen drop 3 rows away. Deputy Clark did not name Alicia. Schools rarely feed names to crowds. But everyone knew. She spoke about the misuse of private information, the harm caused by cropped messages, the seriousness of harassment through unofficial student channels, and the courage it takes to report concerns without escalating them. My hands went cold. Part of me still expected the turn, the sentence that would make me guilty again. Then Clark said, "One student, after recognizing that an online space had become unsafe, took action to stop further harm, sought official communication channels, preserved context, encouraged non-retaliation, and supported peers in reporting concerns. That student's actions have led to immediate changes in our Year 12 communication procedures and a broader digital well-being initiative." Lily's nails dug into my sleeve. "No," I whispered, not because I did not understand, but because some futures are so different from the past that your mind rejects them like a transplanted organ. Clark looked toward our row. "Mara Ellison, please come forward." The hall turned into a single enormous eye. I stood too quickly, my chair legs scraping the floor. For 3 steps, I was walking through both lives at once. Past students whispering monster, present students staring, past teachers condemning, present teachers clapping, past Alicia crowned by my ruin, present empty seat swallowing her name. By the time I reached the stage, my vision had blurred. Clark handed me a certificate for student integrity and peer leadership, which sounded like a title invented by a committee, but the applause was real. Not universal. Not clean. Some people clapped because teachers were watching. Some because they were relieved the villain was not them. But Lily clapped like she was trying to break her hands.
Taustud.
Then Nadia. Then, unexpectedly, Mrs. Henley from the side aisle. A few more followed. The sound grew uneven, human, imperfect, and mine. Mr. Harrow asked if I wanted to say a few words. That was not planned. I could tell from Clark's face that it was not planned. In my first life, microphones had carried Alicia's lies into every corner of that hall. In this life, the microphone waited in front of me like a dare. I gripped the sides of the lectern. I deleted the group chat, I said, and a ripple moved through the students, because nobody opens an awards speech by confessing to the thing everyone gossiped about.
Good.
Pattern disruption. Wake up. I did it because I thought stopping the space would stop the harm. I was partly wrong. Harm doesn't live in an app. It lives in choices. It lives in what we laugh at, what we forward, what we crop, what we ignore because speaking up feels inconvenient. The teachers were very still. The students were listening now, not politely, but hungrily. I also learned that screenshots can tell the truth, but they can also amputate it. Context matters. If someone shows you one piece of a conversation and asks you to hate someone, ask what happened before. Ask what happened after. Ask why they want you angry so quickly. My voice shook then and I let it. And if you are the person being targeted, don't fight dirty, just because they did. Keep records. Find the right adult. Protect other people where you can. You don't need to become cruel to stop cruelty. I looked at Nadia. I looked at Theo. I looked at Lily. That's all. It was not polished. It was not the kind of speech Alicia would have given. There was no perfect tear trembling under stage lights. But when I stepped back, the applause sounded different. Less like noise. More like release. The aftermath did not turn me into a celebrity, which was a relief because I had no interest in becoming the new queen of a system that should not have had one. Alicia was removed from her leadership roles and placed on a behavior contract. Her scholarship application, I heard, was under review, which is adult language for consequences, wearing a blazer. Her mother fought.
Of course she did.
There were meetings, appeals, rumors that Alicia was transferring, rumors that she was suing, rumors that I had hacked her phone, rumors that I had planned the entire thing from birth. I let most of them pass. Not every barking dog deserves your window opened. The school created official year-level channels, banned assessment information from unofficial group chats, and introduced a reporting form that students immediately complained looked ugly but used anyway. Theo became oddly popular after people realized he was funny when not being hunted. Nadia submitted her overdue work and got into the design course she wanted. Lily kept her prefect badge because, as Clark admitted with visible discomfort, private frustration followed by ethical restraint is not misconduct. We repeated that phrase for weeks whenever one of us wanted to do something petty. I'm about to demonstrate private frustration followed by ethical restraint, Lily would announce, deleting a message with both thumbs. As for me, I learned to accept apologies without letting them rewrite history. Emma cried and said Alicia pressured her. Ben said he should have checked facts. Others said they always knew something was off, which was a lie people tell when truth arrives and they want to stand near it. I nodded. Sometimes forgiveness is not a hug. Sometimes it is refusing to carry every debt personally. 2 months later, at graduation, I saw Alicia again. She came late, slipping into the back of the hall with her hair shorter, her blazer buttoned, her face pale under careful makeup. For a second, the old fear moved through me by habit. Then she looked away first. That was all.
No confrontation. No dramatic apology. No collapse.
Just a girl who had once ruled through screenshots sitting in a room where everyone had finally seen the full conversation. During the ceremony, I received another award, this one for community contribution, and Lily whispered that I was becoming disgustingly respectable. I whispered back that she was next, and she pretended to gag. When my name was called, I walked across the stage with both feet on the floor, the way Mum had told me. The applause was warm, but I did not mistake it for salvation. Crowds are weather. They change. What mattered was not that the assembly had crowned me. What mattered was that I no longer needed the crown to know my own head belonged above my shoulders. Afterward, in the courtyard, Theo asked for a photo. Nadia handed me a tiny handmade card, and Mrs. Henley told me my speech had already become something Year 11 students quoted whenever drama started online. Ask what happened before, she said, smiling. Ask what happened after. I laughed, and for the first time since waking up Reborn, the laugh did not feel borrowed from someone braver. That night, I sat on my bedroom floor with my phone in my lap, scrolling through the weather folder one last time. Screenshots.
Notes. Threats. Timelines.
Proof of a war I had not asked for and refused to lose. In my first life, my phone had been taken from me by rain and impact and someone else's story. In this life, it was warm in my hand, full of evidence that had become policy, pain that had become warning, and fear that had become a voice steady enough to fill a hall. I selected the folder. My thumb hovered over delete. For a second, I thought of keeping it forever, a museum of survival. Then I remembered the first morning, the group chat glowing on my pillow like a curse, and the way deleting it had felt like stepping off a script written by someone who hated me. Evidence matters until the truth can stand without it. After that, evidence can become a cage too. I backed up the official documents, saved the policy draft, kept the messages from Lily, Theo, and Nadia, and deleted the rest. Not because it never happened, because it did, and I was still here. The screen asked if I was sure. I smiled. The first time I had deleted a chat, I thought I was destroying the stage. I never imagined her screenshots would build another one, or that I would stand on it under assembly lights while the same school that once condemned me learned to clap. This time, when I pressed delete, nothing ended. Something opened.